I married my husband when his daughter, Trudy, was 22. She's now 36. He's 61 and I'm 46. I have 2 kids, 20 and 18 now. Both are away at college. Trudy never liked me, and that was fine. She has a mother, and she was a full adult living independently when we met. Her parents have been divorced for 6 years when I met her father. We live in a city with lots of tourism, so it was easy to keep my apartment and do short-term rentals when my kids and I moved in with my husband. We also use it for out-of-town guests. Trudy and her husband ran into some financial problems last year. Trudy and her family of 4 moved in with us. We agreed that after the holidays, I would stop taking reservations for my apartment and they could move in there. They would sign a lease and we would rent it to them without collecting rent so they could build up rental history and money. Trudy moved in last October. It was a nightmare. She doesn't help around the house, and neither do her kids. Her husband's working his butt off to get money together for them, so he comes home exhausted and needs more help than her or their kids. The 3 of them leave dirty dishes and laundry everywhere. The house is just a mess. I've spoken to all of them, including my husband, about this. My son-in-law is the only one who makes an effort. Trudy said that I live in her father's house, so I don't get to tell her what to do. My husband did not back me up, so I moved out. My apartment's been empty since the holidays were over. I said I didn't want them treating my property like they were treating my husband's home. They're all mad at me for leaving and changing the plan. She threatened to sue me since they have a signed lease. I told her to go ahead, since I could prove that I never got the agreed upon deposit or the first and last month's rent, which we would cover to help them start over. I've been here for a week now and it's excellent. There's no noise, no mess, and a much better commute for me to my work. My husband has been spending a few nights here with me. He wants me to come home and give them the apartment like we agreed. I said I would do that if we returned to his house that minute and it was in good shape. So I went over there and it was not in good shape. It was disgusting. Like, it smelled bad. It was as if 5 teenage boys were living there with no supervision. She saw me looking around in disgust and said that it wasn't her fault and that the mess was because they didn't have their own living space. Yeah, sure. I turned around and went back to my place. I offered to let my husband move in with me if he wanted them to have their own space. He won't because he's retired and likes where he is. So like I said, they're all mad at me. My husband, Trudy, her kids. Trudy's husband is the only one who understands my position. I will no longer agree to let them in my apartment, and I will also only move back once they leave. Not the idiot. It was so generous of you to offer your apartment in the first place. Then she was untidy and rude in your own home? And that BS about it being her dad's home? Did she not process that under the same logic, the apartment is your home? Sorry, but no. I get that divorced or remarried dads often have a bit of a guilt complex around their kids, especially daughters, but he's already doing all that he can. You can't expect to stay with people long term and burden them with chores and housekeeping. The son-in-law totally understands the situation. As a side note, I don't think the son-in-law will stick around together with such a mismatch in how much work they do and their general manners. He deserves better too. What's the betting that they ran into financial problems translates to Trudy won't get a job, do we think? Your husband's going to need to be given an ultimatum, you or them, and stop letting him sleep over. You're letting him get away from it. Make sure you're not paying any of the bills for your husband's idiot. Tell him you won't move back until they've gone and the whole place has been professionally deep cleaned. She's paying for that. Info: who actually owns the house? If you are part owner, you should be able to evict them. After 14 years of marriage, unless there's a prenup, she should have half ownership. Look, OP, you've been supportive and gracious. You've tried to compromise. All of it's been rejected. It's time to consult an attorney to discuss your options and protect your interest. It's obvious that your husband won't. For some context, while also keeping this brief, my 36 male first wife passed away around 7 years ago. It was extremely sudden and traumatic for all of us. but I think it affected my daughter Emma, teen, the most. She went through a period when she became angry at everything and everyone. Still, she's become quieter nowadays. While my son Jacob, mid-teen, has become very dedicated to schoolwork and his future. I got remarried 2 years ago to Kate, a 34-year-old female, and while it took a while, she gets along with the kids well enough. Emma especially seems to have really warmed up to her, and they spend a lot of time together. I work most of the week, and lately, it's been from home, so I can't spend as much time with the kids as I would like, but I always talk to them while we're having dinner. Almost every night, Jacob will tell me about something impressive he did at school, and I'll congratulate him and tell him I'm proud of him, and sometimes give him extra in his allowance. As I said, Emma's quiet and doesn't talk much at dinner. On Saturday night, after a bit of coaxing from Kate, Emma told me she got a B in her science class, which is pretty rare for her, and I told her I was happy for her. Later that night, while I was working, she came into my office. She asked if I wanted to see her creative writing project for her English class, but I told her I was busy and she could show me tomorrow. I didn't get a look at her, but as she was walking out, she said, "If it was Jacob asking, you would drop everything you were doing." In the morning, Kate came to me after the kids went to school. She said I needed to stop being so dense and that she was tired of having Emma come to her, crying, because her own father would barely pay attention to her or give her a compliment. I didn't think I was doing anything particularly harmful or neglectful, but I've been second-guessing myself and figured I would lay it out here for others to judge. Let me get this straight. Your shy, quiet, troubled daughter, who struggles with school, worked up the courage to ask her distant father to look at a school assignment, which at 14 couldn't be more than a couple of pages, and you told her you were too busy? You couldn't take 30 seconds to admire her project, boost her confidence, and give her the attention from you that she obviously needs? Yes, of course you are the idiot, but you don't understand. It's hard for him to want to listen to Emma because she didn't take her mother's death in stride and calmly manage her grief in a way that didn't burden OP. I'm getting sick of why OP thinks telling us his daughter struggled with her mother dying is somehow relevant or helpful in deciding if it's okay that he ignores her. It is also interesting that what she wanted to share was a creative piece. It makes me wonder if Emma isn't as good at school or just not good with math and science. What I find interesting is how he tells his son how proud he is of them, but when his daughter does something impressive, he just says, "I'm happy for you." To say that someone is happy about what I'm doing feels good, but is nothing compared to an "I'm proud of you." It is irritating to me that he can't recognize it while writing it down. You openly favor your son. Do better before you lose any relationship with your daughter. My wife and I had our first child last year, and it's been quite an intense few months. My wife has been on an extended maternity leave, but we've also hired a nanny and maid to assist us with the baby and keep the house in order. She stays in our guest house. To celebrate our anniversary, I planned for us to take a trip by ourselves just to reconnect and give her some proper time away from our son. She was excited about leaving, but was slightly concerned about leaving our son behind. Her mother would come down and babysit with the nanny. Trying to ease things, I asked the nanny if she'd be willing to come along with us on our trip and take care of the baby, stressing that this was supposed to be our couple's vacation, so most of the child care would be hers and more than usual. She jumped at the idea, so I arranged her ticket and accommodation. To be clear, she was also paid extra for the overtime. The trip was a week long, and our arrangement went quite well at first. My wife was relaxed. We reconnected, and our son was close by whenever we missed him. We would take our son and give her a break either in the mornings or the afternoons. On our last day, she asked if we could take the night shift, as she'd met someone who asked her on a date. Besides that going against our arrangement, the point was to give us a break from the sleepless nights. I'd already paid and planned an intimate date on the beach with my wife for our last night. It became a bit of an issue with her trying to guilt my wife and saying we were being unfair, but by the end of it, we didn't give in, and she looked after the kid. Upon returning, my wife heard her on the phone saying that she was thinking of quitting over all of this and that we were blocking her future. So here we are. My wife thinks we made a mistake. I don't disagree that it might have been idiocy, but ultimately it was our arrangement, and she was paid extra for it. Are we the idiots? Edit. She got paid double her usual daily rate. Since she's consistently been our daily, we just refer to it as a daily rate where she works 8 hours. So we paid her for 16 hours of work daily. This is hilarious. The first few months have been intense. Dude, you've had a child with a nanny for a few months. How intense could it be if you've had someone living in your home to help you 24/7? Newsflash, people deserve time off from work. Expecting her to take care of the child with a break during the day for 7 straight days is BS. All she asked for was one night. One night for you to be a parent to your child. You are the idiot, both for expecting your nanny to be a maid also, and for making her work every day without a single day off during your vacation. You paid her for 16 hours a day, but she worked 24/7. No wonder she wants to quit. And the fact that you were willing to leave your baby for a week after only being a part-time parent for a few months is very telling. Oh, entitled wealthy person is shocked to find the hired help has the audacity to want some time off to have a bit of fun. Also, OP said that the nanny got breaks, but from his description, it sounds like these were not organized or planned, but on a whim. OP, you treated your nanny really, really terribly. She deserves to fire you as her client. You're a terrible boss. The privilege is strong with this one. I mean, have a baby. Oh, we're so tired. So let's drag the nanny with us on a vacation and work her 24 hours a day. That'll get us relaxed. And also, let's listen in on her phone calls. For people who couldn't leave the baby behind, you didn't spend much time with the baby. There was no reason to drag the child along. I'm a single dad to my teen daughter. About 5 years ago, I was an addict, and I admit that I neglected her. My brother was there for her when I wasn't. I truly appreciate that. However, I have been sober for years now, and even though I believe I'm a very good dad to her now, my daughter's still closer to my brother, and it's very annoying. For Christmas, my daughter wanted to buy gifts, so I decided to give her some money so she could buy gifts for whoever she wanted. I expected a small gift at least, but what happened? She spent all of her money on a watch for my brother. I think it's evident from my face that I was disappointed because they both started mocking me and asking me if I was jealous. When we got home, I told my daughter that I understood that she loves her uncle, but I'm her dad, not him, and I think she needs to stay away from him for a while so that the two of us can spend more time together. She thought I was joking, but I wasn't, and I kept my word. She's not allowed to see him for at least a few weeks. She thinks I'm an idiot and won't even talk to me. Am I the idiot for thinking my daughter needs to spend less time with my brother? You are the idiot. She's created strong bonds with your brother during the year you were absent from her life. He was a source of security who put her above any addiction. I guarantee that when she's old enough to move out, you'll lose her completely with this attitude. Please get some help for your jealousy. Dude, your daughter wanted to buy a gift for someone she cares about, and you're throwing a tantrum because it wasn't for you? Seriously? You should be grateful that your brother stepped in when you weren't there for her. Banning her from seeing her uncle is an idiot move. Get over yourself and be glad she has people who care about her. Yeah, the fact that you're making this her fault is so appalling and selfish. This is on you, dude. You caused this damage, and you're making it worse with this ridiculous rule you've set. She thinks I'm an idiot and won't even talk to me. It doesn't look like you'll be getting a Christmas gift next year either. Get over yourself and do better for your child. Stop acting like you're the one who was wronged. Keeping her from her uncle isn't going to make her love you more. I, 28 male, live in Canada, and my roommate, 29 female, and I usually get along well. I'm originally from China, and have family and savings accounts there. The other day, my roommate commented that I must spend a lot on takeout as I order takeout like 4 to 5 times a week. I then explained to her that I don't spend as much as I only order from a few Chinese restaurants that have an agreement with me and don't use standard delivery apps. I pay them in yuan and the delivery over WeChat, so there's no tip or tax, and they give me discounted prices. A week later, she didn't have many groceries left, and she asked me to add something for her, and she would pay me back. I refused because she wasn't part of the agreement, and I didn't want to betray the restaurant owners. Also, she wouldn't be able to pay me back in yuan. She seems upset and isn't being as cordial. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You're breaking the law if you're not paying tax for food purchased, prepared, and ordered in Canada. You and the restaurant owners are running a scam to dodge taxes. I hope your roommate reports your arrangement and these restaurants to the authorities. The restaurants are tax dodging. You're selfish, and I don't want to betray the restaurant? GTFO. You're standing on this moral high ground, but intentionally not paying taxes. She was hungry. It's called empathy, for God's sake. And Lord knows what other things OP is scamming under the table. But I bet he's enjoying the social services like, I don't know, the healthcare system, which is paid for with taxes. Dude, she didn't have many groceries left and could have had a proper meal easily accessible, and you denied her the opportunity to order something when the impact on you is minimal. How does the restaurant know you aren't extra hungry? They would question it? No, they likely wouldn't. Is anyone who eats at a cash-only restaurant an idiot because the restaurant is evading taxes? Every dang restaurant is evading taxes because that's just how it's done in the food industry. If my friend gives me discounted food at a restaurant, am I an idiot for not extending that discount to my roommate as well? Honestly, maybe, but yeah. OP is obviously scamming the entire nation of Canada. Jesus Christ, can you guys chill? It's literally some discounted takeout. Now this guy's labeled a scammer of an entire nation. Get a grip, LOL. OP's not the idiot. Update. Okay, the problem has been solved. I contacted 2 of the restaurants, which are the ones I most frequently use, and they told me it's fine to order for my roommate, and she can order herself if she installs WeChat. She doesn't want to use WeChat, so I told her she could ask me. For those saying tax evasion, etc., these restaurant owners are really kind people and often even give free meals at their restaurants to Chinese international students who are struggling. Sometimes others too, not just Chinese, just that most customers are Asian. I work now and I'm not a student anymore, but they know that and said I can still use the services.